What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new episode of The 8 Below Show. Welcome everyone to The 8 Below Show, the best entertainment related show here on YouTube. And I'm super excited about our episode here today. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get into it. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Beyond Good and Evil, this franchise that has been dormant for a number of years, guys, and we are finally getting the highly anticipated Beyond Good and Evil 2. And what I wanted to go ahead and do in this segment of the show is talk about everything that we want in Beyond Good and Evil 2. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here, and I would love to hear yours, whether you disagree or agree, in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So, for me, guys, with Beyond Good and Evil, this is a game that came out back in 2003, and obviously it was, a game in which there was obviously the action adventure of that title. It was definitely had a number of different elements to it, but between, solving puzzles and, of course, fighting different types of enemies and, getting like even photographic evidence and such. And so I think that what they did with Beyond Good and Evil was definitely a step in a really great direction for what could have been a really nice long-going, franchise. But at the same time, we haven't had a game since then. And so now we're getting the continuation, even though it's not the continuation, it's technically the prequel to Beyond Good and Evil. And so for me, number one, guys, is I want them to stick to the roots of Beyond Good and Evil. So what I mean by that is having, solving puzzles, fighting, of course, different enemies, having, photographic evidence that you collect and obtain. Obviously stay true to the action adventure of Beyond Good and Evil. I think, that's like first and foremost, the most important thing in my opinion is that there are those differences, but there's definitely those similarities. That leads me to the next thing for me, guys, is look, the different enemies that you're fighting, the different characters that are in the game, the different locations that you're going around or you're exploring and such. I definitely want there to be some differences. I think that's going to be very important, that there's a lot of differences. Maybe some similarities to the first Beyond Good and Evil game, but a lot of differences. Lots of new enemies that we're going up against, new characters, existing characters, but new characters as well. And of course, locations. Having it where it feels like the Beyond Good and Evil world, but at the same time they're different locations so that it doesn't feel repetitive. Now I'm sure, guys, that Ubisoft has this mindset that maybe they want us as an audience and as casual gamers to play this title from the standpoint of, since it's been so long, they may want to really throw a lot of things that are similar to the Beyond Good and Evil franchise because it has been so long. And even if whether you're a casual gamer or you're a very competitive gamer, I'm sure they are going to want to have this balance between those things. And that kind of leads me to the next thing, guys. Beyond Good and Evil, the first one that came out in 2003 was just a single player story, which is totally fine, guys, but I would really like to see this game in this day and age go to that next level. Having a full package, as we talk about all the time on the YouTube channel, having a single player story is very important to continue the story that is Beyond Good and Evil, but also having co-op modes you can play with your friends, and even multiplayer elements would be really cool as well. I think from a graphical standpoint, being able to, just kind of see that the differences between, from 2003 to now, guys, so much has changed. And so I would love to see some additions here to the Beyond Good and Evil franchise. And I think that this is a great opportunity for Ubisoft to create this full package deal for us in this franchise. And it could actually do really well, in my opinion. What the multiplayer looks like and how that plays out is, yet to be seen, guys. And I would, certainly want to be surprised here by Ubisoft, to say the least. I want them to kind of surprise us when it comes to the multiplayer elements. Part of me wonders if it's going to be some type of like end game sort of style like they've done with The Division and like what sounds like, with Watch Dogs Legion and other games that are coming out from Ubisoft. It sounds like that might be something that they kind of do here with Beyond Good and Evil too. And one other thing, guys, for me is obviously I want this to really feel like a living, breathing place, which from the graphics to what we've seen so far as gameplay is concerned, or at least the reveal trailers, it looks like this is going to be a really cool open world game. And I just really want us to be able to traverse this world in a number of ways. I think that's going to be really important moving into this title. And I just want there to be hundreds of hours that we could put into it, whether you're talking from a single player perspective, a multiplayer perspective, or a co-op perspective. Whatever it is that you want to do and how you want to connect with this game, I think it's been so long since we had a continuation of this franchise that it's almost like owed to us to be able to just put as much time and effort as we want into this game. So I would love to see that, because I want Beyond Good and Evil 2 to kind of withstand almost, the next decade of a shelf life, after it comes out, whenever that may be. I would love it to be able to kind of set up the next 10 years of Beyond Good and Evil and what could be maybe a trilogy, Beyond Good and Evil 3 eventually. And so that's kind of my last thing, guys, is I really want this title to set up the next 10, 20 years of the, of the Beyond Good and Evil franchise. And hopefully we get, continuations of it a lot sooner than from Beyond Good and Evil 1 to Beyond Good and Evil 2. But with that being said, guys, I want to hear from all of you. What do you want to see in Beyond Good and Evil 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Beyond Good and Evil 2 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. Dragon Age is a title that we've talked about here on the YouTube channel. You guys can check out all of that content here, guys. But I want to talk about Dragon Age 4. So this is a game, guys, that is reportedly still in pre-production. But, obviously there's a lot of things that we can speculate about. The rumblings, the talk, speculation, all of those things are starting to really ramp up with this title. Lots of people are excited about it. Dragon Age, guys, as well as like Elder Scrolls and Avowed and all these different titles that are being announced as brand new IPs or ones that are continuing. There's a lot of excitement that's coming out of these like middle-aged types of games. And so with Dragon Age 4, I want to talk about everything that we know so far about this game, and I would love to get your guys' thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Let's get a real conversation going. So with that being said, guys, in an article written by Lauren Morton of PC Gamer, Dragon Age 4 is reportedly still in pre-production, but we can guess some details about its characters, settings, and gameplay. Dragon Age 4 was for several years one of the most open secrets in gaming after the ending of Dragon Age Inquisition's final DLC made it very clear that the saga of Thetis was far from over. We've been expecting another Dragon Age game to follow it. BioWare spent years dodging any official confirmation the fourth game was in the works, while executive producer Mark Dara continued his tradition of using Twitter to share fan works and make cryptic statements to tease fans. Now BioWare have said in no uncertain terms that they're working on the next Dragon Age game, though we still know precious little about it from a short narrated teaser trailer, behind-the-scenes video, and some concept art. So we're thinking, that BioWare have begun to sprinkle out teasers more frequently as of summer 2020. So with that, the Gamescom 2020 opening night live show gave us a look at some of the early production of Dragon Age 4. The video shows off concept art, some 3D environments, a bit of voice acting production, and some gameplay prototypes. It's a bit too early to count anything seen as true Dragon Age 4 gameplay, but getting a look at the process is something at least. And I gotta agree with that because, getting at least something, guys, seeing some behind the scenes, a lot of times you'll be able to get like some Easter eggs that they kind of show off, and you might not be, you have to kind of like look at those things in quite a bit of detail. But from what we're seeing so far, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about it. Now, full disclosure, guys, as far as Dragon Age, I'm not extremely familiar with all the lore and such. Dragon Age Inquisition was the first game that I personally played in the entire franchise. I haven't been, a part of this, franchise in a major way, but haven't really been a part of any of these middle, the Middle Ages and such of, these types of types of games like Elder Scrolls, and I just really have never played a lot of these titles in the past, or at least, I've played them more recently, but, it's not something that I've been really close to. So a lot of the characters, a lot of the different places in these games, guys, I'm just not incredibly familiar with. But from what we've seen and what we've heard, I gotta say, I'm pretty excited about Dragon Age 4. Now, EA didn't mention the next Dragon Age game by name during EA Play in June, but they did make some allusions to it. BioWare imagines in Creative's worlds where you become the hero of your own story, and we're using this next generation of technology to make those fantasy worlds your reality. They didn't say that these are screenshots of Dragon Age 4 in development, but if that isn't a bunch of red lyrium, I'll eat my boots, which is very true, guys. I do believe that some of these screenshots that they did show off at EA Play in June are absolutely from Dragon Age 4. We don't have a release date for Dragon Age 4 yet. There are still a lot of things we don't know about the game. We do know that it's likely still quite a ways off. In August 2020, General Manager Casey Hudson described Dragon Age 4 as still in early production, which is really interesting, guys, that all these games that are, gonna just, have like this style of play, right? Like you look at Avowed, you look at Elder Scrolls 6, now you look at Dragon Age 4. These types of games, it seems like they're a ways off. It's like, oh yeah, they're years away, like what they stated with Elder Scrolls 6. And then of course, now with Dragon Age 4, it's in early production. Avowed seems like it could be the first one to come out, and that's a brand new IP from Obsidian. So that's something to really keep an eye on, because they might try to take a lot of these players who are really used to playing, Dragon Age or Elder Scrolls. It's going to be a real battle, guys, to say the least. But in my opinion, I'm thinking we're going to hear a lot more about Dragon Age 4 next year. So in 2021, I think we're going to start hearing a lot more about it. I would assume that we're going to see it come out at the very earliest, late 2021. I would say 2022 is probably when we can expect it. Ultimately, though, guys, it really comes down to when BioWare wants to release this thing and when it's fully ready, because we want it to be ready, guys. If it's going to take absolutely years upon years to come out, take your time, BioWare. Take your time. We know what happens when they don't take their time and you kind of rush projects out and it becomes a real nightmare, right? Games that could be so good and then end up not being very good because of whether they're, a lot of bugs and fixes that need to happen, or they're just rushed. And so don't rush Dragon Age 4, please. In BioWare's September 2019 update, on its blog, General Manager Casey Hudson admits news about Anthem's future, says one of our projects has a large and growing team in Edmonton working through pre-production, and based on the progress I'm seeing, I can confirm that indeed the Dreadwolf rises. The good news is that BioWare is no longer allergic to saying the words new Dragon Age game in public. The bad news is that Hudson mentions this quasi-unnamed project is still in pre-production. For games of the size that BioWare makes, this means there's still a long road ahead. Which is true most likely, but you might get surprised, guys. I think a lot of times with these developers, they, even if a game is still a ways away, they, or even if it's closer than you might think, there's a lot of games out there that are, people think are, a long ways off, but then they start showing stuff a lot sooner, and then you get a release date, and it's like, wow, this is coming out a lot sooner than I thought. So an example like Elder Scrolls, guys, yes, that is a game that has been years and years away. This game, though, may actually be an outlier, and they might say, yeah, it's an early production, but they're actually trying to, just kind of giving themselves a little bit of some time here. Whether or not they're really far in production is another question for another day, but it'll be interesting to say the least. So is Dreadwolf Rises the title of Dragon Age 4? It could be, or it might just be a statement about the plot. Whether or not the game is named after our friend Solas, he will certainly be playing a pivotal role, it seems. Which characters will be in Dragon Age 4? Now, Dragon Age has a history of reusing characters like Varric, who is a companion in both Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, and cameos like Zevran, who shows up in a Dragon Age 2 quest after being a party member in Dragon Age Origins. So, look, guys, as far as the names go, I'm not very good with the names in this title. That's because, obviously I'm not as familiar with this franchise, the long-standing franchise. I mean, I never played, Dragon Age 2. I only played Inquisition, like I said, but I will have to go back and play these other ones because I'm getting pretty interested and intrigued by Dragon Age 4. So far, BioWare is committed to hanging up its protagonist between Dragon Age games. Each adventure comes with a new hero, though the Grey Warden and Hawk do have the ability to cameo in Dragon Age Inquisition. One character we know will play a part in the events of Dragon Age 4 is the Dreadwolf himself. Solas' voice is heard in the first teaser trailer for the game, and his relationship to the greater struggles of Thetis means he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Another old friend that may make a comeback is Fenris, the Tevinter 11 warrior from Dragon Age 2. Dark Horse recently announced another Dragon Age comic featuring Fenris called Blue Wraith. It's hard to say whether Fenris appearing in a comic is setting him up for a cameo in Dragon Age 4 or for retirement as a character. So the setting, guys. Dragon Age 4 almost has to take place in Tevinter. The mage-run society with the diverging branch of the Chantry has been the mythical boogeyman throughout the series. Not only did the final Trespasser DLC for Dragon Age Inquisition end with the Inquisitor stabbing Tevinter with a dagger, but there have been plenty of very promising signs leading us to the northern country since then. And look, here's my thing. My whole thing about the setting, guys, is a lot of times with these games, I don't necessarily care where the setting is necessarily. The things I care about, though, are that there's differences. Look, you want there to be similarities to previous Dragon Age games, but you definitely want there to be differences so it doesn't feel repetitive. You want it to still have that feel, those gameplay, the mechanics of a Dragon Age title, but you want differences. And for me, I want a lot of variety in the locations that I'm exploring and such. That's a big thing to me. So whether you're in Tevinter or if you're somewhere else, it doesn't matter to me. I just want there to be that variety, guys. I don't want it to feel very repetitive. It's okay to have some similarities, but definitely have differences from the other, other Dragon Age games. Now, that version of Dragon Age 4 was subsequently canceled at BioWare's Edmonton branch, pivoted to assist developing first Mass Effect Andromeda and then Anthem. Dragon Age 4 has since been resurrected under the new codename Morrison. Now, what I'm going to say, guys, is Mass Effect Andromeda, I've stated this many times, I thought that it was actually pretty underrated. I understand why people didn't like it that much, but I get why people, didn't enjoy it, but I also think that it's a little bit of an underrated Mass Effect title. BioWare is basically 0 for 2 lately because obviously they had Mass Effect Andromeda, which was met with a lot of criticism, and then Anthem was absolutely killed, guys. So I think that BioWare, I'm just hoping that they don't mess up Dragon Age 4, and that's why I've been stating, guys, that just take your time at the end of the day. Dragon Age 4 will be a story about having no power. In the Gamescom trailer, lead writer Patrick Weeks described how Dragon Age 4's story will diverge from Inquisition. For the game we're working on now, we want to tell the story of what happens when you don't have power, what happens when the people in charge aren't willing to address the issues, which I think is a really interesting concept, guys. What will Dragon Age 4's gameplay be like? It will certainly be an RPG, or so one would assume. But beyond that, any real details about Dragon Age 4 are still very hush. From Kotaku's report on the first version of Dragon Age 4, codenamed Joplin, a large chunk of Joplin would center on heist. The developers talked about building a systemic narrative mechanics allowing the player to perform actions like persuading or extorting guards without the writers having to handcraft every scene. The goal was to focus as much as possible on choice and consequence, with smaller areas and fewer fetch quests than Dragon Age Inquisition. So that reminds me a lot of another title from, of course, BioWare, Mass Effect, having, making choices and there being consequences, and, it kind of changes the narrative, changes the ending of the game, which for these titles, guys, is totally fine. I always like to see, games kind of change that somewhat. Like in Mass Effect, I would have personally liked Mass Effect at some point or another throughout the course of its history. I would have liked Mass Effect to actually try not having the choice and consequence in it. Now, I know it was really good for the first 3 games, but at some point or another, I like it when they change things like that slightly, where it doesn't feel super repetitive on making choices and there being consequences and things of that nature. And so with Dragon Age 4, it sounds like that's going to be coming, obviously, but I kind of like there being changes, like I said, slight changes in tone and such. But with that, is Dragon Age 4 going to be an online-only like Anthem? In early 2018, Kotaku reported that Dragon Age 4 had been rebooted as a live game to better fit with EA's push for games as a service that could continue to generate revenue after initial launch sales. After the report, BioWare's general manager Casey Hudson clarified that live didn't necessarily have to be at odds with what players love about Dragon Age games. So here's what I'm going to say about that, guys. We all know that EA is all about, the games as a service, the monetization tactics and strategies and things of that nature. And I've stated many times my thoughts on monetization and, those strategies and tactics that these different companies use. But all I will say is this. I just don't want it to be, deceptive to the consumer. I don't really want this to be a games as a service necessarily. Sure, maybe end game content, but I'm thinking more along the lines, I want a full package. I want a, single player story. I want a multiplayer, and I want co-op, modes as well. I want all 3 of those things. And it's okay to have this as like Elder Scrolls Online, where this is going to be like Dragon Age Online or something like that. I'm totally cool with that. But don't make it just that. In my opinion, that is a terrible idea. That's going away from what, from what Dragon Age was built on. And you can't do that because, you can, but I think you're going to be met with a ton of criticism. Now, BioWare certainly won't be immune to whatever monetization strategies EA enforces. We can hope that the BioWare team manages to fit those goals into a form that doesn't feel at odds with the single-player first-person or first experience we expect from a Dragon Age game. So, look, guys, I gotta say, I'm very excited about Dragon Age 4. I really am. I think that there's a lot of hope here that this is going to be, a real step in the right direction for BioWare, because they've had a couple of really titles, one being underrated in my personal opinion, but still was met with a lot of criticism, that being Andromeda. And then Anthem, of course, was just hit with so many issues, guys. And so now I think BioWare is like all in on Dragon Age 4, in my personal opinion. I think that they are really going all in on this title. And I just want them to take their time. Take your time. And if you're going to have monetization and such, just, make sure it's not deceptive to consumers. Have earnable items over payable items is the other thing I'm really a big fan of. Having more earnable items than payable items. And make those earnable items better than the payable items, so people actually try to earn the game. It brings people back to the game. I've always stated that with games like Call of Duty and such. Having earnable items over payable items is the way to go, in my personal opinion, to build a very loyal fan base. A fan base that's going to come back and try to earn a lot of those really cool items that you can get in-game. But with that, guys, that's everything that we know so far about Dragon Age 4. It's not a lot at this point. A lot of it is speculation, and the rumblings and talk are really ramping up. But it's something. And as we get more information, I'll be sure to let you guys all know. And I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, though, about Dragon Age 4. What do you guys think? What do you want to see out of this game? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Dragon Age 4 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. It goes without question that Black Ops Cold War is obviously one of my most anticipated games of the year, right? The Last of Us Part 2 was a very anticipated game for me, but you guys know, Call of Duty is what got me really started on pretty much everything. I mean, it was one of those titles, guys, that has really got me going when it came to especially like the trick shotting and sniping communities in Call of Duty back in 2008, 2009. Of course, StarCraft 2 was the other one, as well as Gears of War. Those were like the big three to me. And so Call of Duty, every single year that it comes out, it's one of my most anticipated games and titles. It just is. No matter whether we're talking jetpacks, whether we're talking boots on the ground, it's always been one of my most anticipated games. And with that, it continues with Black Ops Cold War. I've stated this many times, guys. I don't like the title. I wish they would just change the title to Black Ops 5. I don't like Cold War. I just don't like the name that much. I feel like it just almost feels like somewhat of a soft reboot, but at the same time, I just feel that they were kind of building on something here. You got to Black Ops 4, and then you're all of a sudden going to kind of go backwards, so to speak. I just didn't really like it. I thought it made more sense with Modern Warfare to be a soft reboot. I thought that they should just continued with Black Ops 5. But nonetheless, the title of a game is not going to dictate whether the game is good or bad. The gameplay, mechanics, story, things of that nature are what's going to dictate whether the game is really good or bad. Obviously, with the alpha, guys, being something that people are getting their hands on and trying out, from what I've watched, from what I've been looking at, guys, this game looks very promising. I want to talk about everything that we won out of Black Ops Cold War. And when I say we, guys, I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and opinions here. I'd love to hear yours in the comment section down below. So let's get into it. So Black Ops Cold War, I feel like there needs to be real emphasis on, obviously, the story. I want there to be a fully fleshed out campaign. I've stated this many times. I would love them to kind of go a little bit away from what they've done in the past, because if this is going to be somewhat of a soft reboot, I would love for them to kind of change things a little bit from the campaign perspective. We've had this very linear experience in the campaign up to this point in time, and I would love to see them kind of make it a semi-open world, or even a full open world would be really interesting for Call of Duty, but even just a semi-open world. I was afraid of, of this concept when Gears 5 was going to come out. A very linear experience up to that point. Gears 5 comes out and it's a semi-open world, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to like this. Then when we got into it, it was so awesome being able to really kind of be in this living, breathing place and like explore it and such. I feel the same way with Call of Duty. Why not change it up a little bit from something that we've had all, up to this point? I don't think they're going to do that, guys. It doesn't seem like they're going to be doing that. It seems like it's going to be like epic moments consistently in the campaign, which is what Call of Duty is always known for. But nonetheless, I would love to have some like differences differences there with, Black Ops Cold War. But the other thing is I would love to see Alex Mason return. I think that would be really cool to see him return to the fray and into Black Ops Cold War in some capacity or another, whether he's a playable character or whatever it might be. I'd love to see Alex Mason come back. Another thing, guys, moving, away from the campaign and moving over to the multiplayer experiences, and multiplayer is really what we're kind of getting our hands on impressions of and such. And I got to say, guys, overall, I really like what I'm seeing so far. The thing for me, though, is I believe that the maps are really going to dictate whether this game is going to be really good or not so much. The maps seem memorable. They seem pretty epic. And so I'm excited about what I'm seeing so far with the maps. But at the same time, I feel like the maps are going to really dictate whether this game is going to be really good or not so much. Because obviously, guys, we only have access to so many maps from the alpha. And then, of course, when the beta comes out, those are all things that we're going to have, access to, and we're going to be able to kind of see all of what that's going to encompass. From what it looks like, though, the maps overall, I'm on board. I'm on board with them. We'll just have to kind of wait and see what the full slate of maps that comes out. Obviously, the full slate of different weapons. I would love there to be more emphasis on sniping. And guys, this is because I'm a sniper. I love trick shotting as well. I would love this to be a trick shot title, a trick shotting game that, can bring us back to the trick shotting days of Call of Duty. I don't think we'll ever be back to Modern Warfare 2 Black Ops 2 days, but something like that would be really cool. I'd love to see the emphasis on sniper rifles once again being, like a heavy emphasis there. I think that Modern Warfare did an okay job with the sniping. Obviously, trick shotting was almost non-existent within it, but I would love to see definitely, the continuation of snipers. And I just feel that sniping has been one of those things that's been nerfed so many times from the community. But I want there to be balance, right? I want there to be a real emphasis on balance in Black Ops Cold War between all the different weapons. I'd also love to see a real, a competitive playlist. Treyarch does a really good job of doing that, whether it's league play, whatever it might be. I'd love to see that for those of us who are kind of wanting more of a challenge, more competition. So a competitive playlist would be absolutely awesome. And, honestly, guys, zombies, I know people love zombies. I just want there to be, traditional zombies, which people, obviously, I think that's pretty obvious that traditional zombies is coming back. But I'd also like there to be a couple of new modes to zombies, like that of having where you are able to save your progress, or a mode where you're able to actually beat the zombies or beat the actual missions and such. I think that would be a really cool concept as well for zombies, kind of like change it up a little bit. So for me, zombies would be great. I really like the concept of extinction. I believe in Call of Duty Ghosts, and I would like to, I kind of liked that idea. And so I'd like them to take that approach here with zombies. I don't know if they will. They probably won't. But I think adding new modes to zombies would be a really smart decision. And so overall for me, guys, though, I am very excited about this title. I definitely want there to be a really good marriage between Warzone for Black Ops Cold War, where we're able to, both of the developer teams are able to kind of work those things out, adding new weapons and areas and things of that nature from Cold War. I'm excited about this year in Call of Duty. I think that there's real potential here to be something special. Every time Treyarch comes out with a game, we always feel that it's going to be the strongest of the Call of Duty titles, right? I mean, Infinity Ward, not saying they do a terrible job. I think Infinity Ward definitely does a better job than like Sledgehammer did with their titles, but I really think that there's an emphasis here that Treyarch does the best. They make the best multiplayer experience. Infinity Ward does the best when it comes to the story mode. And so I want to see that really, show here with Black Ops Cold War. Especially, I think that there's a lot riding on this, especially with, for example, the Call of Duty League. I think it's really going to be a big year for them if this title really hits, really gets knocked out of the park by Treyarch. And I think they will. I think that this is a team that will absolutely knock it out of the park. From what we've seen so far, different, certain fixes and things of that nature, as long as they're on top of it, guys, and they're changing things not only for the casual gamers, but also for the competitive side of things. If they're consistently updating things and making sure and fine-tuning stuff so it's like the best experience possible, we're going to be in for a great year. But those are the things, guys, that I really want to see and I'm excited about with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Let me know, what do you want to see in Black Ops Cold War? Let me know in the comment section down below. And for more Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. We've talked on the YouTube channel about Titanfall and this franchise moving forward, and I wanted to go ahead and take this last segment of the show and talk about the top 5 things that we want in Titanfall 3, which is a game, guys, that there's a lot of rumblings, a lot of talk that this is a title that will be coming out at some point or another. No official confirmation, but I wanted to give our official top 5 things that we want to see in Titanfall 3, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. What are the top 5 things that you want to see? So let's get into it. Coming in, guys, at number 1 for me is, at the end of the day, I just want Titanfall 3. I want there to be a Titanfall 3. I want it confirmed. I want it to happen. Not that I don't like the other, couple, Titanfall games that we've gotten. Not that I don't like Apex Legends. Titanfall 3 needs to happen. It needs to coexist and continue this legacy, this franchise for the next, generation, especially going in the next generation of consoles and such. It's really important, I believe, for Titanfall to continue. And, just some backstory here, guys, when we talk about Titanfall as a franchise and some of the problems that have happened, look, I'm a massive fan of what they're doing and what they've done with Titanfall up to this point, but I think there was just a lot of, some really bad decision making on Titanfall's part, with EA and Respawn taking Titanfall and trying to compete and release Titanfall 2, I believe it was, right around the same time as Call of Duty and Battlefield were coming out, which was an absolutely ludicrous decision to do that. Obviously, Titanfall was one that pretty much got 3rd place there. I feel like Titanfall needs to be, released at a different date, and it should have been, from the beginning. The second thing is like one Titanfall is just multiplayer, then the other is obviously has like campaign and such. I just think that Titanfall has been very inconsistent, and that leads me to number 2, which Titanfall 3, I want to see a full package. What do I mean by a full package, guys? I want to see a single player story, even a co-op story, but single player story would be great, and the option to have co-op would be great as well, but also having multiplayer modes as well as just co-op in general, co-op missions and such, other ways that we're able to connect with this franchise. And look, a lot of people may say, why do you need multiplayer when you have Apex? Titanfall has some really interesting game modes and such that I think are really, really special to the Titanfall universe. I think that needs to continue, which we'll get to here later, why I think that this could be really helpful for the competitive scene of Titanfall as well. But I just think that there needs to be a full package here with Titanfall. Don't just make it multiplayer. Don't just make it a single player story. Put everything together and keep Apex, but have these as an option at the same exact time. At number 3, guys, for me, I want this title to tie into Apex. I want them to use Apex to promote Titanfall 3 so that Titanfall 3 can be bigger and better than ever. And I want Titanfall, of course, to promote Apex. And you're kind of obviously really showing people that these are both in the same universe. Some people don't know that Apex is actually in the Titanfall universe. Obviously, most people should know that at this point, but some people just don't know that. They don't know that Apex is actually in the Titanfall universe or Titanfall vice versa. So I think really cross-promoting both of these within one another. I mean, your marketing tool is Apex, and you're able to market Titanfall 3 in a major way. Titanfall 3 can, of course, promote their Battle Royale mode, that being Apex. So I think that tying it into Apex in a major way is going to help down the road with Titanfall 3. At number 4 for me, guys, when it comes to the story mode, I really want there to be existing characters, existing enemies, existing locations, but I want there to be new locations, new enemies, new characters that you get to kind of, connect with, and new locations that you're able to explore and such. I'd love to see Titanfall take a little bit of a kind of a page out of Gears of War's book where they maybe go into a semi-open world setting, or they, because it's generally speaking, the campaign up to this point has been more of a linear experience, which is fine, but I really want them to kind of even broaden the horizon even more, because there's a lot of people who don't like playing multiplayer. They like to play single-player stories, and so with that, you don't want it just to be a quick 6-hour campaign and then it's over. You would want there to be a lot of things that you can do outside of just the campaign. You're able to go ahead and explore, find new collectibles and things of that nature. And then, guys, at number 5, I think it's really important, I alluded to this earlier, that, I want there to be free-to-play elements. I think that Apex is the free-to-play BR for Titanfall in that universe, but having some free-to-play multiplayer modes could do really well for Titanfall, in my personal opinion. I would love to see them put more emphasis on the esports scene within Titanfall. I think it's really important, guys, to help continue the growth of a scene or of a game. I know Apex, they have a esports scene there, but I think that it's just Battle Royale. I think that, if you have other modes outside of that other people can try and play and such within the Titanfall universe, I think it could really help the esports scene, which is going to help your game overall grow at the end of the day. Having some free-to-play modes, it would get people to at least try some of those modes. Even if they don't all stay, it's going to help continue building that fan base over time. If you want Titanfall to be, comparable to Battlefield and that of Call of Duty, you're going to have to make some changes to how you market, how you, what's all included in the package to really entice people to try it out, to really get people to buy a copy of the game. I just think it's going to be really important, guys. But I want Titanfall 3, man. It needs to coexist as a first-person shooter. It could be something really special. I want to hear from all of you. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below about Titanfall 3 and what you guys want to see. And for more Titanfall 3 content and videos, stay here with Zero TV. And with that being said, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy this episode of The 8 Below Show. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and as always, I'll talk to you guys all in the next one. Peace.